Hello everyone, it's Matt from Akuma Mods back again today with a unboxing of the Anycubic Photon M3 Max. This is Anycubic's answer to basically the Elegoo Jupiter. So we are going to unbox this. Unfortunately, this is kind of an odd unboxing. Usually I do these live, but given the circumstances, this is supposed to be kept hush-hush for the time being. I cannot show this off to anybody, so this is a pre-recorded unboxing. I will do it the same way that I normally do, but unfortunately I just don't have an audience here. So I'm going to try and talk my way through it and hopefully not bore you guys. But when you guys see this, this will already be unboxed for about a week and a half before you guys see this video. So I'm just letting you know. Let's roll that footage. All right, so we are back, and basically we are going to unbox this and get it all set up. Let me shoot over to the single camera right here. So we are shooting this on the Logitech C920, and yeah, you guys can basically see it. And I'm gonna try and get this all set up and out of the way, so that way you guys can see me unbox it. Let's see if we can get a little better setup here. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna try and move this around. That way we're not getting anything up and out of the way. But it's gonna be a fun one because this is ginormous. So just to give you guys a little insight, here's a tape measure, and this box is just about what, 2.5, almost 3 feet, 2 3/4 long. So this is a big printer. All right, let's get this all set up. Yeah. All right. So I did already open this a little bit, but I have not peeked inside. So everybody's going to see it exactly how I see it. All right. Moment of truth. Ta-da! That is a big boy. So packaging is pretty nice. Basically, we can show you guys how everything is right here. As you can see, there's like aluminum frame on it, so that's really cool. I guess I gotta grab my cutters for those. But it is packaged very well. This is a ridiculously huge Anycubic machine. Just to give you a size comparison, that is my hand. Yeah, we're gonna have fun opening this thing and seeing how it is. So let me see how we are gonna do this. Clippers. Now we got our trusty scissors. That'll work too. Probably should have just moved my chair out of the way. All right. I don't know if we can get this out like this. Oh, this is literally screwed together. So it is in a metal frame that is screwed together. Now, I don't know if you guys, when you receive this machine, are going to get the same packaging, but yeah, that's basically how it is. So we're gonna tip this over, and then I'm gonna try and slide it out to make it a little bit easier on us to get this thing out of the box. Hopefully we don't break anything, running anything in the process. All right. So let's see if we can slide this big boy out. Oh yeah, it comes out fairly easy. That way we can get this big, huge box out of the way. All right, so grab that. Then we can get this ridiculously huge box out of it. Okay. So let's slide you guys a little bit over here so that way we can see everything. Okay. So we have our assembly instructions. Obviously, we don't really need that. I can already tell that there is a auto feed system per the instructions. So that is nice to see. We'll have to take a look and see how those are. So it says assembly and leveling instructions. Unpack and remove I can talk. The protective metal frame, foam, and zip ties. Take out the machine and its accessories. Be cautious of metal frame sharp edges to avoid injury. Now, from looking at this, so these are Allen keys, so we're going to have to loosen some of these up just to get them up and out of here. But we have our power cord already. We have our supply box. We'll open this up really quick and see what's in here. So we have some clear tubing and black tubing. I'm guessing that is the in and out for resin, the resin bottle. They did provide a mask and some filters. A pretty beefy spatula. I'm not a big fan of these spatulas, but these are really, really nice to have on hand. They got a beveled edge. So maybe it might work, but just the thickness of it is just, that's my big thing about it. And then our typical bag that we usually get with Anycubic printers. This I haven't seen since I had a Photon S. But basically a bag of a couple gloves, the USB drive. Looks like some other stuff that's inside of there. Our plastic spatula. Probably all the stuff to get the autofill system working. But we will need some of the wrenches. So let's see which one we need. Aha, I've chosen wisely. And then also, again, our assembly instructions. So it looks like they weren't sure, so they just put in an extra one just for the heck of it. So either way, we got a double one just in case. So let's put that off to the side. And let's see if we can try and get this all set up here. Get it unboxed. Screw number one out. Screw number two. Number three. I don't think we really need to take anything else apart, to be honest, because we can just kind of flip this out and get all this stuff out. There's a big piece of styrofoam. This is very, very well packaged. I'm actually very, very excited to see that because I will tell you that there was a nice gash in the box, so I'm a little worried about the protection cover being broken. Hopefully that is not the case. I really hope not. But, you know, there's always that possibility. So let's see if we can try and get this out of here in one shot. So I can tell you right now that this is a two-piece hood, which I was a little concerned about because I didn't want a giant liftoff. And I'm not so sure I'm digging this right now, but we'll have to use it and see how that goes. But as of right now, I'm just kind of iffy about it. We have our leveling paper that is ginormous. Looks like a screen protector, which is really, really nice that they include that. instructions for the screen protector. So yes, this does come with a screen protector already for the system. Our other piece of plastic. And then, whew, there's a lot of parts to this. This is probably the longest unboxing I've ever done. So, lifting off that lid, I can see all the parts for the printer itself. Looks like we have the ginormous vat. That's pretty big. This is almost like pretty close to the Mega, the Mega 8K frozen vat. Now, someone did tell me that there was like a frosted vat, and I will confirm that this is frosted. Now, we're going to keep that on there because supposedly this is some new proprietary vat that Anycubic's trying to sell people on. I don't know if it's going to help or not, but we'll take a look and we'll test it out. Why not? See if the prints come out any different. So I personally have never had an issue with prints and blurry FET film. So I don't see that being an issue. It's just kind of strange out of the ordinary type thing. So looks like we have probably a bottle holder, I'm guessing, for the auto refill system. Put that off to the side. We have our auto refill system for the actual bottle. So this is proprietary to the Anycubic Elegoo EPAC style resin bottles. Not the end of the world, so we can always just keep some extras around and just refill it with our own resin. So I can always keep a bottle of miscellaneous resin, and then I can go ahead and fill it with a different bottle of resin. It's not the end of the world, so we just have to make sure we keep a singular bottle, or maybe we can figure out an adapter piece on it. I'm sure somebody will figure that out. Power supply is pretty beefy. Looks like it's 24 volts at 6 amps and 144 watts. So that's a pretty beefy power supply it's got there. Not too bad, though. We have our ridiculous build plate. This thing is huge. So that is my hand. That is both of my hands right there. So that's a pretty beefy build plate. We do have the diamond texture. I don't know if that's coming through. There you go. You can kind of see it. It does have the diamond texture that they pretty much made for the Photon Ultra series, and it seems to be something that's carrying over in the 3D printing or resin 3D printing world. Take the major base off. I don't think there's anything else hidden inside here from what it looks like. We have our ridiculously giant machine, which we already cut our cables for. Dual linear Z's. These are ridiculously thick. I want to say these are thicker linear rails than the Mega even has. And it does have a T8 ball screw, which I'm very happy to see, because with the machine this size, you want something like that to keep you from missing any steps. And just it's a smoother ride than the regular Z rods are. I like these a lot better over anything else. Very, very chunky system, but still fairly light for a base, or at least I think so. Yeah, that's not too bad. I can deal with that. So now we're all done unboxing everything. Getting that all set up. Put this off to the side for the time being. Get that up out of the way. So far, not too bad. Don't really want to touch the linear rails too much. I want to gunk them up with my fingerprints. The the other thing is we have to find room for this thing. So, like I said, there is a auto leveling feature. Sorry, not auto level, auto refill feature that is on this printer, and you can see that right here. So we'll have to take a look at that and see how that is and what it entails. But it looks very interesting the way that they have it set up. If I'm not mistaken, this is a 13.3-inch screen, so fairly large. So obviously it's bigger than the Elegoo Jupiter. It's bigger in size that the build plate is bigger. It's got a bigger vat than the Elegoo Jupiter. It's got a bigger screen. And most importantly, even though it's got a bigger screen, it actually has better resolution than the Elegoo Jupiter. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the Elegoo Jupiter is either 50 or 51 microns, and this is supposedly 45 microns. I could be wrong about that. I will verify more once I do some testing, but from what I've heard from some people, that's what it's supposed to be at. So that's really, really nice to hear that, if that is the case. Cage-wise, that's a little weird looking to me, but it's, I don't know, it's just very strange. It's basically a giant square that's all open. So it's a little weird to see that type of setup. They probably could have went with something a little less bulky, but I guess that works because it does save weight. I will say that. So instead of your traditional, singular piece that comes out to a dual piece that comes out to a singular piece, and it just sits on the singular bracket. This one just kind of has a giant square. So my only concern about that is, the structural rigidity of this piece. That's my only concern. So we will have to, at some point, check the bolts once we start utilizing this, just to make sure that everything's good. But that's about the only issue that I can see that having. It seems like it's a pretty solid piece from what I can tell. So not terribly different. So as you can see, it says Anycubic Photon M3 Max. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of the name. It's kind of something that doesn't really roll off to the tongue, but it does, kind of hold true to the old Photon name. I guess they're going back to that instead of just having a Anycubic mono, basically. I mean, they are Anycubic Photon mono, but more or less people just call it the Anycubic mono or Mono X printer. So let's go ahead and get this set up here for power so we can raise the Z-axis. I already have power supplied here. We can plug it back in. Let's see if there's any Ethernet back here. I do not see any Ethernet. I do not see any power on that side. So is everything on the left side here? So it looks like we have USB. I don't see any Ethernet anywhere on here. But that doesn't mean that this does not have Wi-Fi, because if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be kind of like the step that Creality is going with their printers, where they have a cloud printing service, which is going to be very, very nice for a lot of people. My only concern is, much like the Creality cloud service, does this connect to Anycubic, and does that allow them the rights to any and all of the files that you print on this? That is my only concern about that that type of setup. So I don't think that'll be the case, but there's always that possibility. So I'm always going to let you guys know what I think about that situation, which I'm not a big fan of. I will say this is kind of odd to see this on the side, but we can always work around it on my setups here. So it's not the end of the world. I will say that 9 times out of 10, I probably won't print via Wi-Fi or anything like that. So it's just something I don't usually do. So we set this up. We got the old school Photon. Again, I'm not too familiar with the Photon monos and how their startup is, but as you can see, this looks like the old Photon S that I used to have. Same type of setup. Let's see here. We got tools. So we have, yeah, we're going to turn off the sound. We're going to move the Z up. We're going to go 10. I wish it had a 100 millimeter setup. That is a very loud printer. So I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. It does have some sound to it. So it isn't very silent, but it could be that that's just the sound of when you're moving it up and down. It could be silent when we move it when we're printing with it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put on the build plate here. It's just so strange. So there's our setup. This is a ridiculously build plate. Like I said, this is slightly bigger than the Elegoo Jupiter build volume. So just note that if you're looking for something that's just slightly bigger, this is pretty much going to be what you're looking for, because the next step up is going to be the Frozen Sonic Mega 8K, and that's basically what you're going to be left with. Sorry, I know you guys are trying to get both of the camera angles on here. All right, let's go back to our instructions and actually read them for once, because I don't want to destroy something that I shouldn't. It says tear off the film that is protective. We're going to raise this all the way up so we can get some more. Okay. So we did plug-in power. We moved the Z. We're still moving the Z. We removed the protective film. Loosen the 4 screws. So it does basically want you to level the platform, from what it sounds like, because it says loosen the 4 screws on a printing platform. Install and secure the printing platform. Okay. Place the leveling paper on the curing screen. Now, before I do that, one thing I probably want to do is see about doing that screen protector on here. So I'm terrible with screen protectors and putting things on, so I usually don't have them, but let's see how their instructions are. So, installation of screen protector. Tear off the stained screen protector and clean the curing screen with the toolkit. Okay, so it's actually, we got an alcohol prep on here. I'm guessing inside of the toolkit we have. We'll just kind of take all this stuff out. I'm guessing that's what this is. Screen protector accessories. So that is the cleaning kit. I really don't think I need to, because we just took off the protection film, but we utilize it anyways. So they do give us a little terry cloth, little tiny one. And let's see, dust absorber, used to clean the dust from the screen. Okay. So we're going to go on, tear off the stained screen protector and clean the curing screen with toolkit. So basically, they want us to prep with the alcohol pad. This doesn't feel like it's got enough alcohol in it, but we'll see. I don't think that's got any alcohol in it. All right. Okay. So then we're going to do the dry wipe. Now, I know you guys are probably going to ask for pricing on this. Currently, as I'm making this, I do not have a price for this printer. My guess is it's going to be similarly priced to the Elegoo Jupiter, probably at around the $1,300 range, I'm guessing. So just be wary of that. The dust absorber. I don't really need that. It's just a dust absorber. Okay. So now we're going to peel off the backing of the screen protector. And it is labeled back and front, so we know which one to put on there. Probably shouldn't have done that in one shot, but whatever. And we're going to use the tool. Basically get all the air bubbles out we possibly can. It's kind of a tedious thing to do. Get all these air pockets out. It's Me and screen protectors do not mix, obviously. All right. Smooth down and peel off the front protector. Got a couple air bubbles in there, but nothing terrible. It's going to have damaging effects at all. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much it for the screen protector. Now we can move on to our other stuff. All right, so now we want to install the screen, or the leveling paper, it says. And then we want to loosen up the screws for leveling. Now this is probably pre-done from factory, but we're just going to do it just to be on the safe side. I am glad that it's a 4-point leveling system because, as you guys should all know, that I'm not a big fan of the pop socket style that the old Photons used to be. But that's just also my preference as well. So, all right, place the leveling plate paper on a curing screen. Click Home. Wait for the Z-axis to descend and stop automatically. Press on top of the platform gently, and then tighten the 4 screws to secure the platform. I just cannot talk. I mean, I know it's late at night or early in the morning, however you want to say it. But good Lord. So it's not loud that I can tell here, but I don't know how it's going to be raising up and down. That's my concern. But for me, I don't really care for that. So we always want to go from the front right corner to the back left. And the reason for that is because those are the screws that go down first. And once you have those good, then you can tighten as you see fit. Come back here. Okay. So now we're all set with that. So now we are going to set our Z to 0. Actually, we're going to hold on. Make sure this is good. So I raised it down 0.01 just to give it that extra grip. You don't want this paper to slide around or do anything like that. So now we're going to hit Z0, and hit enter, and hit enter. Okay. So now we're zeroed out. Okay. Confirm, enter. Again, the platform will automatically lift up to a certain height, then take the paper out. Detection, raise printing platform, and the curing screen can be observed. So we're going to move this all the way back up again. Forgot I had it on 0.1. So yeah, these are probably the thickest rails that I have on any of these printers here. Any of them. Even my higher end machines like the GK and the Hellet Sky. All right. So now we're going to go back. We're going to do, what do they want us to do? Detection. Okay, so we're going to do it for 3 seconds, and it's basically, there should be a square on the center here and LEDs all around. We're good. Everything is good on that end. I see that that LED array is set lower inside this unit, which is really, really nice because then we won't have the issue of the uniformation, and we can also test that. It should come out pretty well on this. Let's try that again. Install resin bed. We're gonna do an exposure test. So as you can see, there's no cuts or anything anywhere. looks like most of it is uniform that I can tell, so we're not going to have like any lines on the screen. This was an issue with a lot of printers back probably about a year ago now, where new screened printers were coming out, and they were having LED array issues where you could actually see lines through the LED array, and you couldn't really tell unless you looked at the print, and if it was a big enough print, you could actually see the separations of the line, so it would actually undercure that part of the printer, or the print, I mean. So it says, now install resin vat with both needles. We're going to raise this up a little bit more so we have some more room to work. I basically want to try and run this all the way up. So that's maxed. That's maxed out. So I wish it went a little bit higher, but I guess that's max volume for it, which I don't think is 300 millimeters, but we'll see. Because supposedly that's its Z height. All right, so sorry, we're jumping the gun here. All right, so it wants us to install the vat with both needles being set in it. So there's little needles right here that are on the autofill. Woo! That sounds quite different than what I'm used to. So again, the vat looks like this. This is very, very springy than normally. I don't remember the Mega being this like springy sounding, but I don't know. I could be going crazy. But yeah, that's really weird that it's not a clear vat. It is a frosted. I don't think it'll be an issue, but it's very, very strange. And I don't think it came with any extra vat sheets. So that is one downfall of it, is that there's no extra vats that come with this. All right, so we're going to push this vat in here, and that system is going to automatically lower down and basically have it set in there. Oh, you know what? It wants it to do it the other way, which is very strange. Okay, because I was going to say I only saw max level on that one side. Oh, so there is prongs on this vat. They're plastic, which I guess you can end up replacing with regular screws, it looks like, because they are Allen key, so they're probably just plastic screws. But yeah, this does just kind of slide in here, and then you can slide it right into place, lock down. Okay. So now that we got that situated, let's see what our next is. Our next thing is to put in the back cover. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not digging this auto refill system. And the reason being is it shows it's behind the center of the back. Like, you could probably have the ability to put it inside there if you design the machine right. But I guess that's kind of a moot point. It's not the end of the world. I just wish it was a little better built for that. So, all right. So now it wants us to turn this around and install the back half, which is right here. So install the back cover. Then if the auto feed unit is not needed at the moment, the installation is finished, which obviously we're going to install the auto fill feature. Why not? That's the whole point of it. If it's there, we might as well utilize it, right? I don't know if this is film. Yeah, that's. There we go. Okay. So now we put this on the back here. And that just kind of lies in there and sets. Looks like we need 2, 4, 6, 8 screws. 2, 4, 5. That's not it. I wish these were labeled. That would be nice. Yeah, no, they're not labeled. So I'm guessing these are the screws. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. So yeah, these are the screws. Of course, just getting crap all over it now. Okay. These in here, so we have them. We're not losing them. And then we're basically just going to install these. Oh, that's the wrong size. Where's the other one that I used? Where did I put you? Okay. I used it to take off the cover. Where did I put it? There she be. Yeah. Not digging how this goes together right now. It's very cumbersome. have begun conversation to go. Yeah, that one's a little strange for me. I will say that one selling point over any of the other machines in this size, that are new machines, I should say, the build leveling system is super easy, unlike how the Jupiter is or the uh, Mega 8K. Now, granted, the Mega 8K is a much bigger system, but yeah, it's not very fun to try and level that. I will say it's not something that you could just be like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and level my bed today. It's not as easy as that. But obviously, everything has its own little quirks, and this one's posing its own quirks, like how things are needing to be screwed in a certain way. Make sure you don't over tighten these, because they will just go right through the plastic. I should have included like some washers or something, but that's fine. We can always see about 3D printing some washers. Get it all set up here. But so far, the unit is pretty quiet in at least idle mode. I don't hear these fans coming on, so we'll have to see once we start printing. But, so far, so good. That's all tightened up. Now, step 11, turn the machine back and install the resin bracket first. Okay, so install this down there, and that's going to install at the center. Now this can be easily modified to, like we can get something 3D printed that is a different style bracket for those that use other style resins. That can definitely work, no problemo. But as of right now, this is meant for Anycubic style bottles or Elegoo style bottles. Okay, so insert the cap into the Anycubic 1 kilogram of resin bottle and tighten it. Place resin bottle on bracket and connect the cap part wire to the machine. So we have this that plugs into the side here, and then this goes into the resin bottle. And then obviously our two tubes are going to go into there. Like I said, I'm pretty sure one is just like a purge valve, and the other one is the actual fill valve. Because one of these is not connected to really anything. So let's go ahead and I'm going to grab a bottle of resin here because I do have a bottle from Anycubic. So we'll use their resin. We have their, I believe it's the Craftsman resin, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Attention, attention. Okay. So now we're going to take our bottle of resin. Just worried that it was going to pump something out of there, and I was like, no. Okay, so pass 2 pipes through the limit hole right there on the back of the cover. Connect ports 2 with feeding pipe black and connector ports. And I with air pipe. So they are labeled on here from what it looks like. Number 2 at least, I can see. I don't see a number 1 on that. Unless it's on the actual tube, but I can't see it. So we're going to take our tubes that they gave us. We're going to feed them through the back. And obviously, we can probably shorten these up if we need be. But, okay, so connect 2 with the black. That's going to be our center port. And then clear with our white port. Okay, we feed these through there. Okay, and then turn this back around. That out of the way. And we're going to put so the clear one is going to go here. I'm going to take the slack out of these and put them in the back. That's kind of how it shows it. And then we're going to put black valve on here. Okay, I'm going to bring out the slack here just so we have it. Auto feed. Ensure the auto feed unit has been installed and the resin in bottle is enough to print. Click Tools. Okay. It will feed automatically if the resin bed is insufficient during printing. Okay. That'll be cool. No more failed stuff. I'm going to take this out because I see I got like some dog or cat hair on stuff. All right. To enable the function, now we have it enabled. The auto feed only works when the machine is printing, and the unit feeds every 5 minutes normally. So my only concern is, can it overfill? I mean, it shouldn't. That's my main concern right there because it's on a timer. All right. So if the insufficiency of the resin in bottle is detected when it is printing, the machine will beep to warn and disable auto feed function. Please add or change resin first and enable the function and setup if necessary. Okay. If you use non-Anycubic resin, it is suggested to check whether red light goes out normally when resin reaches both needles before printing. So therein lies the whole system here. So that piece that I showed you guys that had a resin, basically attaches to the bottle. It's the cap and it has these two long rods on it. Those are specifically designed for those bottles. So for those of us who use different bottles of resin, that may not work 100%. Or I think more or less what it's telling us is that it's concerned when it starts getting lower to the bottle. So if we do have an adapter created for it, that's our only concern, is just making sure that the distance is enough to have for the bottle size. So that's the only concerning part. But again, we can easily transfer to a blank bottle like that. Like you can just buy a bottle and just utilize your own resin and call it a day. That I think would just be easier than redesigning everything for each and every type of bottle. Even though that is kind of tedious to do, that'd probably be the easiest way to do everything. So um, to save resin, pour the remaining resin that is out of the reach of pipes through resin vat. Do not vigorously shake or turn over the resin bottle when cap part is installed. If the inside of the cap is sustained by resin, please immediately clean to avoid malfunction or damage of auto feed unit. So that probably will become an issue for some people, is that it will get clogged because they're going to change something and it's just not going to work right. Please check the fat film carefully before and after every printing. That is very, very important, especially with machines this size, to make sure that your FEP is good. So it's good to check it. If the fat film is broken, please replace it. Make sure you wear masks or gloves to avoid direct skin contact with resin. Basic resin stuff. So after printing, there might be some cured resin left in the vat. Please filter the remaining resin by a funnel, then store the liquid in a sealed container for the residues left in the vat or on the platform. Please use paper towel to carefully wipe off. Um, Basically, just simple stuff, and then that's it. So we're all good. I'm not sure why we have some extra screws here, but we do. So I'll have to take a look at that and see why. I know they used to have extra screws all the time. And I want to say this is for the body, but these are kind of small screws, so I'm not really 100% sure on that. Either way, we got extra screws, so we're good. Got that. Keep that. Keep that. Keep that. That's garbage. That's garbage. Our warranty card. Keep that. And our little spatula. Keep that. Now for the fun part. What is on the USB drive to print? Let's take a gander. Okay, so another thing we want to do is we want to look at settings. So you could actually change the feed rate of the resin as well. So that's kind of cool. Don't see anything about Wi-Fi on here though. There is an IP thing, but I don't see it enabled. So it might just be that we're in early stages of this, or I'm just not seeing something. So I'll have to play around with that and see how to set up Wi-Fi on this. So the test point obviously is the cube that they usually have. Let's see if there's anything about Wi-Fi on here. I didn't see anything about Wi-Fi, but I'm pretty certain this has it. It's just the fact that I don't know if it's enabled yet. I don't see anything. So it might not be enabled yet. All right, let's see if we can. Maybe I want to put some resin in there first before I hit print. So let's grab our other bottle of resin. Use that. Because they did send us 2 kilograms of resin. So we'll fill it a little bit just so we can see the auto feed function kind of utilize a little bit. Fill it enough just to give it a base. It's good enough. So that size, it looks like it's got a kind of smaller vat because at least the max fill line is set just a little bit higher than what we poured in there, and that's probably maybe 400 milliliters, so it's probably a 500 milliliter vat. So I actually think I was wrong in terms of how much it can hold, but there is the auto fill feature. So technically, it doesn't ever have to have like a giant vat. It doesn't have to have anything deep because it's got that auto fill feature. So let's go ahead and print this and see how it does. And hopefully we can see how that auto refill system works, because that seems to be the new selling point for a lot of companies, which is good because it's something we've needed for a while. So. Okay, so it is filling the vat right now. I know you guys can't really see that. I'm going to try and move this when it lifts up. Obviously, this is not level. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is make sure that you have a level surface because you don't want it to overfill the vat at any point in time. So it's kind of like spitting it out. You guys might be able to see that now. Okay. And this just basically slides on here and kind of just locks into place. That's it. Kind of a strange setup, but definitely going to take some getting used to. I will say, what is nice is this opens the ability to where if you modify the top here, you can have it as a lift off. Now, unfortunately, this is kind of heavy, so the lift off section that you have to put on there, or the hinge, has to carry some weight, and I would probably put more of a stiffer hinge on it if I were to do that, which most likely that's what's going to happen, is I'm going to put a stiff hinge on there. But it is filling up the system, so just make sure we got everything good. Yep. I'm wondering if it's doing like the spitting type thing because it's aerating the resin. Because I'm noticing that it's not like bubbling out in that section, at least not that I can see right now. It's possible it might later on, but we'll have to see. But I'm kind of weary about that system. It's nice to have, but I don't know. It's kind of concerning. Can we turn off the system? So if you are worried about that, you can turn it off while it's in printing mode. So like, let's say you go for you have a 13-hour print. You're doing a full build volume, and you have to leave halfway through the day, and you know that your vat is good because obviously, even though the max fill line says something, technically the line that it has on there is not right. You can obviously fill this up more than what it's capable of. So, but we can even bump up the feed rate of the. Okay, so it looks like it kind of turned on. That's very loud too. It like aerates itself. Okay. So I will definitely be playing with that autofill system because I want to see if I can have it pump out faster or if I can have it pump out slower. Because that's kind of nice that you can set how much resin. So like you can gauge it on the type of print that you're doing. So let's say obviously a solid print is going to take much more resin than a hollow print will. You can actually adjust it to where you feed less on a hollow print, so you don't have a full vat all the time, and you can adjust it more if it's a solid print, and that way you don't have to really worry about putting more resin in there. So it's kind of nice. One of the things I will say that somebody brought to my attention with this auto refill system is the fact that it drips. And that's about the only part that I'm a little worried about. And one of the also reasons why a screen protector is good. When you're changing out the vat and you're cleaning whatever you're doing there, is that it drips. So maybe finding a little cap to plug that with would probably be best, and that way the resin doesn't leak all over the screen when you're doing it because it is raised up. So I mean, I can plug it right now, and then if I need to take out the vat and I clean it, I don't have to worry about it spilling all over. So it's not the end of the world, but it would be nice if they included like a piece like that. So it is a little loud when it's printing. It's not horribly loud. Like I've got some printers, like the GK1 is pretty loud when it prints, but obviously since it's doing slow or not slow motions, but not so much like a lot of motions. It's doing a little less. You don't really hear it too much, but it is there. So um, so if you're someone who's looking for a quieter machine, this might not be the one for you. I don't know how loud or quiet the Jupiter is. I know it's pretty much all metal, so I'm sure some vibration or sounds will come through, just like the Mega. The Mega is pretty much dead silent, but you do hear some things through it because of the metal cage or the metal surrounding that it's got. It kind of vibrates everything, so that happens a lot. Whereas this, it's just more or less the motors out of anything. So again, it's not terrible. It's manageable in my opinion for the sound. So yeah. But that's pretty much it, guys. I think that's all we really have to say about it. Um, Let me see if I can pull up some specs here really quick so I can show you guys on the stream. But I'll leave that that screen running so you guys can watch it print while I pull up some of this stuff. And yeah, we'll try and get some information here for you, just so you guys have an idea of what we're working with in terms of size. All right. Did I have that? There we go. Okay, so just to give you an idea, the Elegoo Jupiter, we're going to basically compare this printer to the Elegoo Jupiter because that's exactly what it is the Jupiter size. And so the Elegoo Jupiter screen resolution is 5448 by 3064 X and Y. That is build volume of 278 millimeters by 156 by 300. And that is, again, like I said, at 51 X resolution. Now, the Photon Mono, sorry, I want to say that the Photon Max, the M3 Max, is 6480 by 3600, so it's a much bigger screen. The Jupiter is a 12.6, and this one is a 13.3. And then our build volume is 200 millimeters larger on the X, which is 298. It is about 4 millimeters. No, I'm sorry. 7, 8. So about 9 millimeters bigger on the y-axis at 164 versus the 156. If I can't count, oh well. And then the z-axis is exactly the same at 300 as well. So now there is a plus that is a little bit smaller. That is the M3 Plus, but it's pretty close in size. That one would probably be more of a Elegoo Saturn competitor. I will say that also, so basically, Anycubic, it seems like they specifically went out of their way to just overstep the Jupiter. And what I mean by that is literally every single thing that they did was just a step above. So the Jupiter has a 12.6 6K resolution screen at 51 This has a 13.3 screen. That's just so weird to hear that. It's a 13.3 screen resolution at 7K, which produces 46 So not much of an improvement, but still, it's better. It's even better than Elegoo Saturn, which that says a lot because it's twice the size of a Saturn in terms of like the build plate, and yeah, it produces better quality prints than a Saturn, and better quality prints than I think even the Mono 6K. No, not the 6K. The 4K though, it does. The Mono X 4K, it produces better results than that. So that's pretty insane. And then, like I said, the build volume is just slightly bigger than the Jupiter. The Jupiter's 278, well, that's 298. 164 by 168. Then 300 and 300, so they're the same on the Z. But yeah, it seems like they just went out of their way just to purposely get the Jupiter out of their range. Now, in terms of machine to machine, the Jupiter is more of a industrial style printer. I will say that. Whereas this is more like the typical Anycubic printer that you see on the market. It's just in a larger size. So, is that good? Yeah, it makes it a lot easier for people to understand the machine because it's just a larger mono uh, 3D printer. So I mean, it's not much different than your typical Anycubic. So for those who are looking for a larger machine and really enjoy their Anycubic mono printers, they're going to absolutely enjoy this printer. And from as far as I can tell, everybody that I've spoken to that has an Anycubic mono, they absolutely love them. They consider them workhorses. Like I said, I haven't had an Anycubic printer since the Photon S, so I'm absolutely blown away that they would even give me this printer to show off and review because I don't consider myself anybody really big, but you know it's always nice to have that ability to push myself out there and show people um, some better printers that might be out there that you know will better fit what they're looking for. So, but that's really about it, guys. I don't really have much else to say. We're gonna let the test print go. I usually don't like to do test prints, um, but it'll be fine. It's not the end of the world. I can waste away some of that resin to do that test print, just because I wanted to see how the auto feed system does and everything like that. But all in all, my initial reactions to it, um, I'm kind of so-so about the plastic covering. I wish it was a hinged covering, but that's not something that we can't, you know, modify and take care of. It very easily actually. So I'm kind of happy about that. There's a possibility of that happening. So we'll have to take a look at that and look at some hinges that you know would make that a little bit better, or maybe we can make it a door, you know, an open door type system. I think I'd rather like the hinge version because it's kind of set up for that already. But we'll have to see if that's a possibility. But that's really like my major downfall of this. The other oddity thing is having the autofill system, or at least the bottle in the back there. It's kind of wonky where it is, but I mean, I guess considering the way that the printer is built, it is slightly different than most printers that size. So there's not really a place to put a kilogram bottle of resin. Um, so I guess that's probably the best place for it. Again, it's not something I'm 100% for, but you know, it works. And as you guys have seen, the auto refill system works. I absolutely love that. I think it should be standard on pretty much all printers. It would be really nice if Anycubic came out with a universal system that you can just basically bolt up to any printer and utilize an autofill system. I think that would be a game changer for a lot of people, in my opinion, because that seems to be the question at hand for a lot of people is I want an auto refill system. How do I go about this? And can I utilize it with the way that everything's set up? And you know, I think um, it definitely needs like a rubber grommet. I didn't see one in there for those tubes, but that's something that's easily printed. I have flexible resin. I can print that in, or I can just go out to the automotive store or Ace Hardware or something and grab a little rubber grommet. That's not the end of the world. I'm not going to be like, oh my god, it doesn't come with this. It's fine. So that's about the only thing that I can see people having like a concern for. But what's also nice about that is it has a pretty large hole in the tube there or in the back. Um, so if you wanted to add a heater setup to it, you can absolutely do that with ease. So it kind of opens up the ability to utilize other stuff with it. So that's kind of nice. That I don't know if they thought ahead for that type of thing, but it's kind of seems to be that way. So that's really really nice that that is incorporated with it. That drilled out hole that's in the back where you feed the tubes in, you can absolutely fit a power cord through there with no problems. Um, so that's kind of nice that you can have that, because I know that's going to become an issue with a printer that size, where people are going to have issues um, with printing and having cold and hot areas. Excuse me. So, but yeah, all in all, not a bad printer. Leveling system is super easy to deal with. I got to check on the Wi-Fi aspect of that, because obviously it does have the setup for Wi-Fi, because you can have an IP address on there. I just got to figure out how, and kind of go from there. But as of right now, we're just gonna print it and see how it goes. The printer itself is definitely much beefier than even my Anycubic, than my Frozen Mega. Um, that is probably my beefiest printer to date. And yeah, definitely the linear rail systems on this Anycubic is just insane. So it should ride pretty smoothly across those rails. Another downfall for some people is it might be a little bit too loud for them. In my opinion, it's in the basement, so it's not a issue for me. But some people might see that as a turnoff. So just note that that's a possibility. So um, got an hour and 38 minutes in here, so I'm pretty much going to call it quits, because that's a very long time to build a resin printer and kind of chit chat about it. So, but that's pretty much all I got. If you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and leave them down below. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you guys can be notified of any new videos that are coming out. And that's pretty much it. Till next time, guys, happy printing.